Hi everyone, how you doing? So in today's video I'm basically going to be breaking down a few of the ideas and thoughts I have about why people might not be getting the kicking results they want. So this might include power, sticking your kicks, holding your kicks in the air, having the same flexibility you do on the floor as you do when you throw kicks, speed, accuracy, technique, all these different kind of things. And there's so many contributors to why there might be a bit of a halt in your progression with this, and there's definitely loads of pointers that we can put you in the right direction in terms of your kicking progression. As with all of my content and everything I put out, obviously there'll be some bits which you can absolutely run with and they'll be really beneficial to you, and other bits which aren't going to apply because I don't know about your lifestyle, I don't know about your body and what works for you. So just take what's beneficial and really use that. Also, as I'm going on about all of this, if you have any thoughts, questions or ideas or anything like that, then please do voice those below and I will happily get back to you and we can geek out about kicking and whatever else. So down to it, the first thing I'm going to talk about is people who have really been working their flexibility, they're getting lower in their splits, they're getting deeper stretches, but it's not quite feeling reflected in their kicking. Now the reason behind this, number one, would be leg conditioning and leg strength. Are they really using their muscles in terms of actual functional flexibility? So often you see people just doing their static stretches, so they'll just do a box split on the floor or hold their stretches for their 15 seconds or whatever, but then they don't actually use that flexibility and their strength together. So when we use active flexibility, what we're doing, for instance, a key example of this would be, rather than me just flinging my leg at the highest height I can and saying it's a roundhouse kick when there's no technique there, there's no power, I'm not sticking the kick. Instead what I'm going to do is lower the height a few inches and then I'm going to actually stick the kick and make sure that I hold my leg in the air for that half second. And there we're actually using our muscles and we're really contracting them, making sure that we're actually sticking that kick properly instead of just flinging your leg with no control or power. And that is the first step to absolutely massively improving your kicks, is making sure that you not only have the flexibility but you have the power too. So part of this is massively doing your leg conditioning drills, making sure that you actually have a good balance between flexibility training and leg conditioning training. So with sticking your kicks, it's not realistic for me to throw my leg at the highest height I can and expect myself to stick a kick, because my legs haven't developed that strength in that wide range of motion yet. And you've got to see it as a real like stepping stone progression where I might have this range of motion, but at the moment my leg strength can only take this much, and that's why we've got to stick our kicks at these heights so then we can eventually build up to be able to stick our kicks at the maximum heights. So in terms of flexibility training in relation to kicking, there's so much to talk about, but I will just talk about a couple of bits so I don't bore you all day. But one of the things is with your static stretching, making sure you're not holding your stretches for too short amount of time. So often you see people just kind of reach to their maximum and they kind of like wince and hold it for like 3 seconds then come out, or people that only hold their stretches for like 8 seconds. If you're really looking to improve your flexibility, you need to be holding it for a minimum 8 to 15 seconds, but more ideally 15 to 30 seconds or more, because then you're actually allowing your body to relax into the stretch and then hold it so your muscles can get used to being in that position, as opposed to just kind of being in a stretch for a short amount of time and then changes to something else. So that's something to consider for you. Once again, might not work for you, but as a general rule, for people that I've trained and everything like that, it's massively beneficial. And the other thing about flexibility is just making sure that you're not only doing your static stretching where you're holding stretches, on the floor or something like that, but instead you're properly utilizing your range of motion. So you're using your dynamic stretching and all different kinds of stretching that you can do your research into. So just give it a quick Google, different types of stretching, different types of flexibility, and you'll find loads about that. And then you need to find a good balance between your leg conditioning training and your flexibility. So there's no point in being really flexible and not having the strength to hold your legs up, so you have to make sure that you actually practice this training. If you need some inspiration for that, I've got loads of videos. We love a bit of self-promo. I've got loads of videos about that on my channel, but also just loads of content online that you can find on YouTube and on Google about different leg conditioning drills that people do for martial arts. So have a look at that and make sure that you're actually incorporating that in your training. But as I say, the main thing, just making sure you're properly sticking your kicks, trying to hold your kicks in the air and executing them with good power and good technique, as opposed to just flinging your leg at a random height and hoping that you're going to be able to sustain some height on that and power and whatever. It's just, it ain't gonna happen. So next thing we're going to talk about, you might think I sound really daft saying this, but I genuinely put so much of my success in terms of different things I've achieved or different skills I've learned down to this, is self-policing. Now what I mean by this is having really good self-awareness and really good self-reflection skills. So often I think people get a bit complacent in terms of they've just finished a tournament season or they've just got a new rank, so they kind of relax a bit and they're not really looking for things to improve. And I think it's so important to always, as a martial artist who wants to improve and really seeking to get better at your art is to constantly be thinking, right, I am learning and I'm trying to be better, so what can I do? Looking for the little details. So a massive thing that I always do is I'll constantly film myself do certain things. So for instance, I film myself do a side kick, and then I'll go to someone like Chloe Bruce's page or Donovan Barrett's page, and I'll be like, right, they've got really, really insane kicks. How can I replicate that? What am I doing differently? So then I literally compare every detail about my foot position, my body alignment, how I stick my kick, the blade of my foot, all of that kind of thing. I compare that, and then I go back and I'm like, right, this is what I need to apply now, so let's make the changes. So a massive part of this is making sure that you're open to criticism, and that's not just from yourself but from others, and you've always got the mindset of being a learner. If you have this open mindset where it's not just like you've got your black belt, for instance, and then you're like, right, I've got my black belt, so I am now the instructor. Even as someone who is a 8th degree black belt or something, they should always have the mindset of a learner, because they've got more information to take on about how they can master their craft, you know? So I just think if you've got that mindset of a learner, then you're always going to be improving. So just make sure that you're constantly keeping yourself in check about that, you know. I am learning, I have got so much more to learn, and there's so much more that I can really focus on details and stuff like that to be better. So next thing I'm going to discuss is body alignment, so a bit more technical. And what I mean by this is that a lot of the time you see people with really high kicks and their kicks up here, but their body is kind of leaning one way or the other. And when they're doing this, it means that their technique's not quite there, and that can actually lead on to injuries in the future. So it's really important that we keep in check our body alignment. So when I do a kick, if my kick's here, my body should be here, and if my foot's at head height, you shouldn't really be able to see my head because it should be covering it rather than leaning either way. So that's a really good indicator of whether someone's kicks are in the right alignment. So a really good exercise for that is by having your body on the wall and lifting your leg, for instance in a side kick, out to the side extended, and then this will keep your body in the perfect alignment for a kick. And if you find your body leaning forward, it means that you need to kind of correct that. But you might find that your kicks aren't quite as high as they usually are, but it means that your alignment's going to get much better, and with practice your kicks will get back up to a really good height. A really good indicator of good posture is how much you're facing your kick. So I'm not just kind of kicking and my face is over here, that my whole body is kind of pointed towards that direction. So really focus on that and look at that in your own kicking, and that should help. The next thing to talk about is our base foot position. So depending on what kick you're doing, you need to make sure that your foot is facing the right direction. So a really common one, for instance, would be with your side kicks, roundhouse kicks, hook kicks. When you're lifting your leg up at that height and you're relying on your side flexibility to lift your leg up, you have to open out your hips. So the best way to open out your hips is by turning your bottom foot towards the back of the room, or the opposite direction to which you're kicking. A lot of people you'll see are doing these kicks with their foot kind of facing the side or in front, and that's why their hips don't open up ready for them to be able to perform these kicks really nicely. So just consider your base foot and also how you're balancing on that as well. So play around with what position and whereabouts you're putting the pressure on your feet, and then really make sure that you've got that balance in good stead, so then you can open up your hips really wide to make sure you're supported for that lovely kick. Next, we've got chambers. So often we drill kicks as in we just tell everyone to do 10 front kicks, 10 side kicks, stuff like that. But how often are we actually breaking those down in really good detail and making sure that everyone understands every step of that process? So a good thing that I think everyone should do is firstly do drills where you're just utilizing the chamber itself rather than just going straight for the kick. So isolate the chamber on its own, and then also going through the kick and breaking it down by every step. So I'm in my ready position, then I slightly adjust my foot, and then I bring my chamber up, and then I focus on every part of that chamber, where I'm tensing my muscles, where I'm putting my balance, etc. And then I extend my leg, have my foot in that lovely top position, and then I re-chamber. And that's a massive part of this, is people kind of skip through the chambering up and the chambering out. So we need to make sure that that's fully included in your kick. And once you really focus on that, honestly, just by watching this video and then practicing your own kicks, as soon as you focus on chambers again, it looks so much more clean and crisp. So just make sure that you incorporate that in your training, and they'll look so much better. So next thing is arm placement. So often people kind of just fling their arms anywhere, and it's really important that we actually follow the instruction for where your arms are meant to go, because it keeps good balance, and as well it's there for practical purpose in terms of blocking. So just make sure you pay attention to that, follow your instructor's instructions, and you should be good to go. So the next thing we're going to talk about is targets and spotting your target. So in terms of targets, only kick if you've got a target in mind. Don't just flail your leg in the air and hope that it kind of goes somewhere. actually have a target in mind. So there doesn't actually have to be something there, just look and find a place you're gonna kick. I feel passionately about this, as you can tell. In doing this, it's gonna mean your accuracy is gonna improve so much because you're actually focusing on a target and you're going for it rather than just flailing your leg anywhere. Also, your power and your ability to stick a kick. If I've got a place which I'm actually sticking my kick in mind, it means I'm focused on that, I stick it, and then I come out of it, rather than just kind of going, right, well, my kick's going anywhere, so it doesn't matter. So this will help you focus on that. Next is spotting your target. So I mean this in terms of like spinning hook kicks or 360 kicks, whatever. When we throw this kick, it's really important that we're not just throwing our leg in any direction and hoping for the best, that we're actually doing it in a nice controlled manner. And this is where injuries can happen, not only with yourself, but also with a partner, if you're training with them, if you're not properly looking to where your target is. So make sure that you fully turn, you looked at the target, it is in your eyesight, and then you're executing your kick. As you get more confident and fluid with this, then obviously it's going to look a lot better, but initially you need to really break down to the basics and make sure, yeah, I'm fully turned to the target, I know where the target is, I'm facing the target, I can see my target, and then I will kick. And it's just so much better for your own accuracy and for the safety of yourself and others. So this next one you'll kind of think is silly, and it is, but at the same time we always forget this, is just to ask someone for help. So if I've got an instructor at my club who can help me out, then I might just ask them. And the thing is with your instructors, sometimes they're so used to you turning up and training and doing this and that they kind of forget to pick certain holes in different things, or they don't see things as clearly as they might have 6 months ago. So it's really important to kind of just refresh that and say to them, oh, would you mind having a look at my psychic and telling me exactly what I'm doing wrong here and how I can improve on it? And then they'll help you in that respect. Also, people online can help you. So if you were to drop me a message, for instance, on Instagram and just say, I need a couple of tips on my roundhouse kick, can you help me out? They'll be like, absolutely sure. Helps if you send a picture with that so I can kind of see it in person, you know, not in person, but you know, actually visualize it. But generally I can give you a few tips on that. So just ask people for help, and honestly it will benefit you so much. And I do think that's something we forget. I most certainly do. So yeah, just ask. The last thing is practice and consistency. Now, something that drives me absolutely crazy is when you have someone message you one week and they go, I really want help on my roundhouse kick. Okay, great, this is all the things you can do to help that. And then the next week, right, okay, that's not working, I need some more help. Okay, so you've stuck at it for 1 week and you're not really doing it that consistently as well. So with training, it's really about over a time period being consistent and training and practicing as much as you can. It's not just, I'm going to do this twice and hope it comes. And I think because we live in a technological era where people can get access to things so quickly, it makes people, when they're learning practical skills and physical skills, a lot more impatient. So it's kind of having that patience, trusting the process and being like, right, I'm going to practice these same drills a few times a week and I'm going to do that for the next 2 months, and now I'm going to see a really big change in the way I kick. So really instilling that patience in yourself, having that consistency and prioritizing. And just briefly on prioritizing, I just want to say, what I mean by that is that people always say they want things and, you know, I really want to achieve this, I really want to be able to do this kick. But what effort are they actually putting into their, you know, daily life to do that? So if you actually want to achieve something, make it a priority, put that in the front of your mind frame and be like, right, I'm actually going to go and get that, I'm going to put the time in, I'm actually going to practice. So as soon as you do that, then there is no limits to what you can achieve. But if you don't see it as that important or as important enough to actually dedicate time to it, then you're not going to see results. If you're someone that's looking to improve your flexibility or leg conditioning or kicking, then do get in touch, because I can offer you some free advice, or I can develop your program personalised to you to improve this, or one-to-one sessions via Zoom. So do get in touch and I'll happily help you out on your progression. That's all the thoughts I'm going to share with you today. Thank you very much for watching. I am genuinely interested in what you have to say about this topic in general, so do comment those below and I'll happily have a discussion with you about those. Also, if you have any kicks you want improving, do message me on Instagram or YouTube or email. All my social medias below, so you can have a look on there, and I will happily address those for you and help you out if I can help. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Oh, and if you have any video suggestions you'd like to see, please comment those below, or anything else you want discussed, anything like that, comment those and I will address those. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you're all safe and loving life, and I'll see you all soon.